This is Mark Bousson, senior reporter for LaborPress, and we're here today speaking with Mike McGuire, political director for the Mason Tenders District Council. Welcome, Mr. McGuire.
Thank you very much, Mark.
What are some of the most pressing issues facing your membership right now?
Probably the most pressing issue right now is still job creation. We were told that this depression, recession, whatever they called it, ended in June of '09. It hasn't ended in the construction industry in New York City. One of the big problems is that the banks, even though they're taking money in at about 1/4 of a percentage point, are not putting it back out. They're taking it from the Fed, they're holding on to it, they're not putting it back out on the streets, so there's no construction loans. So there's not a lot of big construction going on.
And your members work on both commercial and residential?
Commercial and residential, high rises, we do demolition, we do fireproofing, we do all kinds of stuff, actually, yeah.
And how many members from your union are currently working at the World Trade Center site?
Oh, I don't know at the World Trade Center, a couple of hundred. Yeah, there's a good job. I mean, we have a couple of big jobs going. That's what's keeping us alive. The World Trade Center now, sadly, that the Rangers are out. Madison Square Garden renovation. We've been doing that for the last several years. Only when the Rangers and Knicks are done for the year, then we get in there with a big crew and start working again. The UN renovation. But our bread and butter is actually a lot of smaller jobs, and that's what's not happening.
Right now, at least what's happening in Washington, we see that there's such a big struggle going on just to get a surface transportation bill passed that could provide, supposedly, I think the last estimate I read was $1 million. I mean, what type of projects do you feel that are essential that would not only provide jobs for your members, but also benefit the people in New York?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned MAP 21, the surface transportation bill, because this partisan bickering in Washington has never been more apparent than on this bill. This is a bill that comes up every 5 years, and until now, it was one of the easiest bills to pass in Washington. It always went through with bipartisan support. We have to rebuild the highways. We have to rebuild the bridges. We need a good transportation system, and with the Republicans kowtowing to the 60-some-odd members of the Tea Party caucus, they were unwilling to spend any money. And somebody has to sit them down and say, where do you think the bridges and the highways come from? It's not like they're going to repair themselves. And last time around, the authorization we got from George Bush, it wasn't even enough to do what the Senate committee recommended just for maintenance, let alone make any improvements. Now they're holding us up on this again. So, I mean, if the MAP 21 would go through, we'd be in a good place.
Governor Walker survived the recall in Wisconsin. What was your impression, or what was your reaction when you learned that he had won the governorship?
A lot of people with deep pockets put a lot of money into that race, and the way these people have those deep pockets and a lot of money is they don't throw it away. So this was a recall that never had to happen. They put a ton of money into it, and they essentially ended up with a push because we took the legislature and they took the governor. And so an awful lot of dough went in there, and they really didn't accomplish a lot. So while I would have loved to see Walker get kicked out of there, ultimately I think it really sends a message to other governors around the country that it's not worth the effort to try and pull this kind of a stunt in their own states. I would never, honest to God, in a million years expect the governor of New York to do something like that. But other governors, yeah, because I mean, what's the percentage in it? You're going to spend all this money, you're going to have to potentially go through a recall, and then ultimately, are you in full control? Have you thrown out the unions entirely? No, you haven't. And now you've riled up a lot of people, you spent a lot of money, and you haven't really accomplished all that much. So, yeah, I think it's a deterrent to other governors. I mean, there could be some whack jobs out there like, yeah, let's do it anyway, but I think anybody who is a decent political strategist would realize it's a zero-sum game.
Mr. McGuire, thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.